How's it going, everybody? These are the top 10 questions you need to ask when buying firewood. How's it going, everybody? Tucker with Tucker's Timbers, back with another firewood video, and today we're going to be discussing um, what questions you guys need to ask when you're going out and seeking some firewood, whether it's for indoor heating or just campfire. These are very general things to ask. And there are things that you need to ask to ensure that you're getting what you pay for, and you're getting the product that you actually are seeking out. So the first thing, biggest thing is the species of the wood. Especially if you're doing indoor heating, you don't want your chimney getting all smoked up. You don't need any softwoods. You know what I mean? You don't need any pine in your chimney. Ask them, what kind of species of wood is this? How does that relate to the BTUs? How I know stuff like that. And if they don't know, that's a huge red flag. Find somebody else to buy. Firewood is a huge market. You can find anybody to sell it. In my opinion, paying a little bit extra for a much higher quality is is the route that more people need to take. Really, truly. Whenever I deliver, I always hear stories about the last guy that didn't do so well, and stuff like that. So that's number one. The second question that you absolutely need to ask is, when was it cut down? When was this piece of wood, when it was still a tree, when was it cut down? Because until a tree gets cut down, in my opinion, it's not seasoning unless the tree's dead. If you're buying dead wood, great, that's fine. The only issue with dead wood is it could be too dry. If wood is too dry, it burns extremely hot and extremely fast. You don't want that. You want that sweet spot of moisture content, whether you're camping or for indoor heating. You want that longevity and that consistent heat. You don't want a burnout like that. So, when was it cut? They should know the answer to that question. Whether they're like me and they're buying big truckloads or semi truckloads of logs, or they're going and they're getting just free wood. They should know that question. You know what I mean? Because that affects how dry that firewood's going to be. Truly. So that's number two. Number three, when was it split? A lot of people, I like to be very transparent with my customers, so I'll say, I'm going to split your wood right into the trailer because it's cherry, and these logs are, they're only 6 to 12 inches in diameter. They've been off the ground for a year. They're already dry. They say, okay, sounds good, because transparency in this line of work goes a long ways. And a lot of people are not transparent in the firewood business at all. I can make a whole 10-minute YouTube video on transparency and how it's lacking in the firewood business. Um, I might do that right after this. I don't know. Who knows? The weather's really bad today, so I'm cranking out some videos. They're really good videos though for you guys. So when was it split? Obviously, that's gonna if the wood is if the tree was freshly cut down, but it was split a while back, that's perfectly fine. But if it's freshly cut and freshly split, red flag. That wood's probably still green, stuff like that. And guys, when you're buying wood, you cannot be afraid to ask these questions. Truly, I'll get to why. If they're scared of these questions or they shy away from them, I'll get to why that's the biggest red flag ever. That's my bonus at the end for you guys. So yeah, split and cut, big deal, right? Another really big deal. You ask, how are you storing your firewood? How are you seasoning your wood? If they're throwing it in a pile on the ground, do you think that firewood is going to be dry? No, it's not. The number one cause in wet firewood is because that wood was on the ground. Um, Never, ever, 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 no matter what kind of wood you're storing, anything, don't ever store your firewood on the ground. Ever. It's never gonna dry. Never. It's only gonna get higher and higher up on that moisture content. It's gonna get worse and worse and worse. So, anyways, they should tell you that they either have it stacked or piled. That really doesn't matter. I pile all my stuff just because I don't have time to stack it all because I have so much wood. Um, and they should tell you, if they stack it, it's either on pallets or it's on 2x4s up off the ground, or if they pile it, then it's on pallets. If they tell you they put a tarp over their firewood, find somebody else to buy from. Tarps trap all the moisture right in there with that wood, and there is no airflow, there's no sunlight, there's no wind, there's no nothing. Don't do that. All right, don't do that. Don't buy firewood from somebody who covers it with a tarp. I'm talking about the whole thing. If they cover the top, that's fine. They're getting all the airflow, they're getting all the sunlight, fine. But if they wrap the whole thing with a tarp, say bye bye. I'll find somebody else. Um, how will you deliver it? So I wrote this question down, keeping in mind if you're buying a full cord and they pull up with a 4x8 utility trailer or a truck bed, you need to say, "Come give me the rest of my wood after this because you shorted me by 2/3. I only got a third of what I'm paying for." So if you're in the full cord firewood business, or you're looking to buy, I'm saying a full cord of wood, they gotta have either a big kind of utility trailer. Like I know Bluegrass Outdoors, if you guys watch him at all, he has that big flat trailer. That's a cord easy. But if they have a little, utility trailer like my face cord trailer, if they have one of those and they're claiming it's a full cord, it's not. You know what I mean? It's not. So always ask, especially if you're buying in bulk, ask if they have a dump trailer or something like that. Every firewood guy should have a dump trailer. It's a staple in the business. You got to have one to run a good business. So another very important question. Do you measure cubic feet? Is the next question. The reason this is so important is because when you stack the firewood up, it is 128 cubic feet per cord, or about 43 cubic feet per face cord, which is one third of a cord. Um, and if they say no, I don't measure it, I just toss it in the trailer. That that's a risky line or a risky road to take because it's a lot harder to measure out cubic feet in your trailer if you don't know the trailer like exact dimensions and stuff like that. Like I don't have to measure every time now because I know how tall my walls are in the trailer and I know how wide it is and how long it is. So I can do the math and then I can factor in that extra 30 to 40% on top of the 128 feet. So it's just about 180 cubic feet when it's all tossed in. It's a big difference between a stacked cord and a piled cord. Big difference. Big, big, big difference. There's all the spaces that you get and the empty areas in the trailer when you pile it. When you stack it, airtight. Can't put a credit card in between your pieces. You know what I mean? So another great question to ask. So the next one, um, where do you get the wood from? So when I first started out, I was getting ugly tree service wood. I was doing way too much work. I was doing free wood. I was getting on the side of the road. Um, and that's tricky to run your business off of because tree service wood is always freshly cut, and free wood on the side of the road is also most likely freshly cut, unless it's gray or black already, and you can tell they've had that in the backyard for a few years and they're trying to get rid of it. Then you don't want that wood to be punky. That's a whole other thing. But where do you get your wood from? They should know the answer to this question. They're buying it from a logger. They should know where their logger's cutting, stuff like that. Guys, these are all really common questions that you need to ask. Um, Unfortunately, this business, a lot of people are trying to get a quick buck, beer money. Um, so ask these questions. If they're scared to answer any of them, or they just don't answer any of them, go find somebody else. You can find so many people that'll find or sell you firewood. It's crazy. So, how long have you been in the business, or how long have you been selling firewood? Is my next question. This one is huge. Um, if they're brand new, that's okay, but then you have to be a little bit extra cautious. You know what I mean? I've only been doing this a year, but I'm transparent with all my customers. I tell you, I'm in it for a year, but I've been doing it basically like a full-time job. Ask me any questions you have. I am an open book. Um, stuff like that. I'm not scared to answer questions. I appreciate it when they're curious, actually, because then I know more people are going to come to me compared to them not asking questions and buying it from Joe Schmo down the road. You know what I mean? So ask your questions. Don't be shy. Um, if they're newer to the business, maybe be a little bit extra cautious. But also, if they say they've been doing it for 10 years, but they don't know what kind of species the wood is, big red flag. You know what I mean? So be cautious with that. How big do you split your wood? This is a big thing because if you are, um, a lot of things can go into this. So if you need it for a smoker, if you're just doing it for campfire, that kind of wood needs to be smaller, needs to be bone dry. Because if you buy wood for your smoker and you get it in their big overnighter pieces, you can't put that into most smokers. You know what I mean? And if you have kids and you're trying to have nice campfires at night, or if you have a wife, stuff like that, you don't want your wife and kids to be having to lug around those giant logs that are going to be wet on the inside still. So in my experience, buy firewood that's always split smaller. That's how my opinion. That's how you should do it every time. So ask how big they split their firewood. Ask them for pictures. That's another big thing. Forgot that one. Ask them for pictures. Say, let me see your wood yard right now. And if they send you a picture of 4 pieces of firewood in their backyard on wet, soggy grass, go on ahead and go with somebody else. But if they send you a picture of really nice pallets and stuff like that, and big old storage bins, and you got a whole bunch of logs in the background, say, all right, cool. I feel a little bit better about this. Um, Ask questions. Moral of this: if you take nothing else from this video, ask questions. That's the number one thing. And here we are. We've made it to the bonus question, the 10th question. This one is really, really, really important. Not important, I guess, but nobody knows about this. And it's a question that if I got asked, I would jump on it for sure. Ask whoever you're buying your firewood from. Ask them if they have any firewood that they need to get rid of, or that they need just to clear space for. Because I can tell you what, if somebody came to me and said, I will take all the wood, whatever kind it is, if you have any that's in an inconvenient spot for you and you need to see gone right now. Because for me at least, I'm still building my property. I'm still clearing a little bit of land, building more storage. And there are piles of wood that if I could sell right now and get out of there so I can put more wood there and sort my bins better, I would do it every time, every day of the week. So ask them, I wrote it down the specific question. Ask, do you have any wood that you need to get rid of? Simple like that. And they'll be like, oh, shoot, yeah, I guess I could move this stack and then keep that one all cherry or something like that. You know what I mean? So that's super common. But I'm going to wrap this video up with this one big thing. If the person you're buying firewood from is ever scared or intimidated by these questions, or they don't want to answer them, don't buy firewood from them because they're trying to hide something. So ask their questions, pick their brain. If they shy away, if they're scared of these questions, find somebody else who's an open book, who's transparent, who's going to tell you exactly what you're getting, um, and that their reviews back that up. Because a lot of the times you start asking a guy questions, he's not that great of a person, and he's trying to sell the wood. He's going to be like, shoot, they're going to look at my reviews and see how crappy they are, or they're going to figure out that this wood isn't what they're going to want to buy. So they're going to freak out and they're going to be like, why don't you just buy it right now? You know what I mean? So they're not going to want to answer the questions, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, those are the 10 biggest things that you guys need to look out for when you're 10 biggest questions. Sorry, these questions you need to ask when you're buying your firewood. Um, Really simple industry, guys. If people are selling a legit product, you'll be able to tell. Just do it like any other brand. You know what I mean? Or not brand, but any other sale that you do. When you go to the store, are you gonna buy a? Let me think. Are you gonna buy, like, we'll say, a bag of candy that's already opened? That's they got wrappers in there. Or are you gonna buy one that's completely sealed up and in a good, nice, even row? Now you want the stuff that looks good, and you want the stuff that you know is good. So don't gamble on firewood just the same way as you wouldn't gamble on your groceries. You know what I mean? So um, that was pretty insightful, huh? That was pretty good. Anyways, guys, really appreciate you guys, especially for sticking around to the end of the videos. You guys are why my channel is growing. I really appreciate you guys. Let's keep building this community. If you guys have any video suggestions, anything like that, pop them right down in the comments. I'll respond to all my comments. Really appreciate you guys. We're gonna grow this channel until you guys are sick of me. All right, we're gonna do a video every single day, as long as I can. Um, so yeah, you guys stick with me. I'm not gonna disappoint you. I promise. I already have merch out, really cheap T-shirts, 25 bucks. Free shipping, I'm pretty sure too. So get in there. That link is in my description. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Um, have a great night. I'll catch you guys in the next long form, short video, or live stream. Have a great night. Stay safe. Thanks for watching, guys.